Okay, welcome back to the CounterStrike Casuals podcast. We are live. We're at episode 71, which is bravo. Clap for you. Yay. We have got a bit to catch up on. Obviously, it's the first proper event of the year. There's the zewz interview we want to touch on, and we've been revisiting some old Counter-Strike. So I tell you what, without further ado, we'll run some intro and let's just get into it, right? I didn't even ask how you are, really. I'm just going to assume you're okay right now.
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Yeah,
Alright, fine. Did you watch any Katowice?
I did.
Did you watch?
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. It's nice to have Tier 1 Counter-Strike back.
Yeah, it's nice to have a good look at some of the teams as well, because obviously we've seen them, but we've watched some of them. It's just one game, so it's nice to see a bit more from them all after all the trades and stuff. How Robs is fitting in and Elige and whatnot. So yeah, I watched bits and bobs. The final, more importantly, I thought this was gonna be an absolute banger of a final. I did say to you, I don't feel like Spirit have been playing particularly well. And I felt like Navi were playing well, so they could have. I was going to say upset, but it wouldn't have been an upset, would it? I'm going to say, yeah, I thought Navi could have beat Spirit, but obviously.
Yeah, I think we spoke about it before the semi-final, and you said who's going to win, Spirit and Navi, and I said Spirit. I said I would like Navi to win because it would be fun for Navi to be in the final and kind of start the year running as a semi fan of Navi, but I said Spirit were gonna be too good for them, and shock horror, the boy Donk turned up. And interestingly, what people have been saying about Spirit over the last 6 to 9 months, where the conversation's been, oh, if Donk doesn't turn up, they're no good. And then others have been, there's been the argument that, well, if Magix has a final like he did at the major and a few others pop up like Shiro and stuff, then they can do it. But I think the final, and pretty much, the semi proves that if Donk doesn't turn up, they're all probably a bit like, what the fuck? You really need him to at least be positive K kills to death, otherwise you're gonna really struggle, especially against the likes of Vitality, who I must admit, now my take that a few episodes back we obviously were doing the whole analysis of the roster changes, and I was way more hyped for Elige going to FaZe, and I thought that was I thought FaZe came out of that better. I mean, this is only one event, so take everything with a pinch of salt. But based off this, wow. Rops at Vitality, I watched that whole final. No, I watched the first 2 maps. Yeah, I missed the third map, but whatever. Rops and zewz had such a good connection, it felt like. It felt like those two, they were sat next to each other. They were popping off together. They were both playing really, really well. And they were it seemed like a really good chemistry between them, almost like zewz felt relieved to have Rops next to him as opposed to a Spinks, and I think actually when you then look at the way they were as a team, with zewz popping off as the main star, Rops backing him up like old Rops used to be, Apex being, and man, Apex played well. Apex this whole tournament has been so on form and so up for it. He's been playing like his old entry self as opposed to just the IGL, and I feel like Apex deserved this win, just from his pure passion and effort in this whole tournament. But mate, I mean, fuck, after that run, Vitality looked really, really good. And to beat them 3-0 in a best of 5 against Spirit, I don't know, it's very easy to get carried away, but all the pieces of Vitality fit really well, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, even Mezzy just, doing his job. He's so no drama, right? From everything we're hearing, like, and just looking
Yeah.
at him in the server, like the guy, he's reliable. He's like,
Just it's ideal for that, for his position. Like,
yeah,
he's just ideal, perfect for it.
no fuss, not a big mouth, nothing. He's just like, yeah, I'll hold the site and buy everyone some time, maybe get a kill or two. Yeah, and that's what he does every time.
And I just feel like any one of their players can have a moment.
Yeah, this is it.
Like, any one of them can change a game.
There's not one in that team where you think, even in like a clutch scenario or 1v2, 1v3, you're like, fuck it, he might do this. Like Mezzy, Flames, Apex.
Yeah, any of them can get a multi-kill any round.
Yeah.
It is crazy. But I thought this was Vitality, like, was it a year ago when they were on a heater as well?
Yeah.
They've been like this.
Oh mate, they've always
over the last year. I would say they've been quiet, but before that, they were like, when they got rid of Dupree, and then they just kept improving. Like every player they got, they just kept improving. Kind of like FaZe, they kind of lose a player and just get an even better player.
Well, the time that they looked a bit dodge was around the Spinks wanting to leave. That I think you could tell the atmosphere of the team wasn't right, and clearly Spinks was probably just a bit of a knob or something. I don't know, but
none of them were playing to their potential. And I kind of said this with FaZe. I said, I think Robs should leave. And I said at the time, it pains me to say it, but I think Robs should leave.
Yeah, you did.
He would, and not because he's not a good player. I think he'll go somewhere and play really well, which is exactly what I've said, and I think that is going to happen. I'm going to stand by it, and I think this tournament kind of shows that. He averaged 1.44. He was second. He was second to zewz in overall rating, which isn't a bad place to be. And Vitality could potentially be extremely dangerous again. It's just like a little refresher. I think sometimes these teams need. They're on the brink of being a #1 team, right? Which they've always been there. They've been there for like, I don't know, 2-3 years now. It's like sometimes they just need to change something small, but not too drastic, and and they've done it and they've got there. Well, not #1 yet, but are they? They're rated #1 by anyone?
I doubt it. I don't think they'd get there based of just that win after the Spirits major
but
win.
no, they're still second on HLTV anyway. But they've won a massive tournament and they looked good doing it and beat Spirit 3-0 in the final, which is massive for them. Like you said, I think on the last podcast, I don't think Spirit just look unreal at the minute, and you can't see them losing.
Yeah.
What's your takeaway with Spirit this tournament?
I mean, there's still quality. Like they actually are. Dog's insane. Magic's had a really good. I can't remember which map it was, but Magic's looked like, I think it was Dust 2. He looked like their only player on that map. And I'm quite happy to see him. I don't want him to not do bad. Like I want him to be up there and have a major performance.
It's funny you say that, because I would say his best map was the third map, Mirage, and you didn't watch that, and
Right.
He was insane on that map.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
He was literally their only player on that map.
It might have been Dustin. One of them, he felt like, and again, the stats might have lied, and I might be basing off the eye test and impact that I felt in rounds. But Magic's looked like he wanted it. So I think, look, mate, Spirit are still going to be up there, and I think Spirit are going to be major contenders again at the next major. It's Spirit, it's Donk. They're just going to have a little blip. The one thing I've noticed more so is there seems to be a bit more media. A bit more negativity coming from their camp. I think Magic's had an interview after a game, not the final, maybe the semi, and he was like,
"Yeah, I mentioned that to you, I think."
Yeah, maybe you did actually. You said, "Oh, it was one of the worst maps ever," or something. Donk was moaning about Ancient, and also their coach came out and said some.
Hallie.
Yeah, Hallie came out with. I can't remember exactly what, but it felt like there's a bit more aura of negativity coming from that camp, which is interesting because. With all these things, you get a bit of fatigue, right? And the Spirit lineup has been the Spirit lineup since we've probably known them to be as competitive as they are. And I do, you do wonder if that it starts to feel a bit fatigued and not boring.
They're a little bit up and down, but I think that just goes with the kind of team they are, because they're very young I would describe them. This isn't like groundbreaking news, but I would describe them as they're a hammer, right? They've got one heavy end, and that's obviously Donk and Shiro. If you're hitting it with Donk and Shiro, you're probably gonna fucking win. But
Yeah.
if you're hitting them with the wrong end of the hammer, which is Zontix, Chopper, and Magics, you're not gonna do anything. And when Donk and Shiro aren't performing, they just don't win. And I would say Spirit haven't had a good tournament at all. And with them all being so young, and apart from Shiro and Chopper, they're kind of not used to this kind of attention or this kind of standard. They're kind of they're up and down. The highs are really high, but the lows are not really low. But they're just not playing. They're playing quite flat, and you can tell they've not had a good tournament. And I think they've realised that. And I think, to be honest, they were lucky to get to the final. I think purely because they are so talented, they've got to the final. But that also speaks volumes. They've got to the final and they're not even playing well.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a surprise to see them not get a map against Vitality, but again,
I really thought they were going to come back on. I think it was Mirage. I thought they were going to come back on.
I wouldn't be surprised if they just go on and win the next tournament. It's fine.
I think they'll be bad for I don't know, maybe another month, and then they'll just come back and win something again.
Yeah,
and be on a big high for a while.
I agree.
What about do you have any opinion on anyone else in the tournament? We've kind of got a bit more of a look at teams like FaZe.
Yeah, I think there's just teething. Like FaZe is just not quite clicking with Elige yet, I guess, and I think Elige has not been playing that well, and he will be, I guess, the most critical person about that himself. So I think I think FaZe just needs some settling in time, and
they still need time.
Yeah.
What about Navi? I didn't really criticize them, but I predicted that they're not going to win anything this year.
Yeah, but you were getting a bit nervous when they got into
they played really fucking well. They had such a good tournament. But this is what I'm talking. I would say Navi are pretty much, they were playing at probably their best CounterStrike, and they didn't manage to get to the final. So when I say they're not going to win anything, that's not I don't mean to diss Navi, but I think there's only so much they can do, and there's only so far they can go. I think they've done really fucking well, and they are a really good team. But now you've got Spirit kind of getting better, Vitality getting better, FaZe kind of staying the same, I would say. But you've got a lot of teams to beat. Eternal Fire are improving, the Mongols are improving. Not saying Navi can't beat those two, but there's a lot of teams getting better, and Navi have, in my opinion, stayed the same. And also, there's a lot of eyes on Navi after last year. They had such a good year. A lot of people watching them, taking tips from them, and kind of know their playbook. And I just don't know how deep that goes.
I don't think they can be too disappointed with their run out here, though. I think they're going to be, again, challenging the Vitalities and the Spirits for finals and titles this year. So I think your take on them not winning anything is probably going to be a fail, but we'll see.
Yeah, only time will tell. What about two teams I really wanted your opinion on, to be honest with you? Well, three, actually. Mongols, VP, and Eternal Fire. I wanted to do this game. Maybe we can just go straight into it now. I wanted to ask you, basically, are these teams going to improve throughout the year? Like, whether they go up and down again is doesn't matter. Do you think that they are going to improve this year at any point, or go down, or stay the same?
I think Eternal Fire. So this is a bit of a take. I think Eternal Fire are going to do, and I mentioned this in a couple of podcasts before. They are going to do what Eternal Fire did last year, I think it was, or the year before, where they did this little run where everyone just got well hyped about them. And I know that Jotters came in and he probably does look okay, but like, we've been here with Eternal Fire. They do this. They have like some deep little runs. They win like some random B tier event, like the equivalent of whatever, like a Bet Boom Darcher, but not something like that, you know. And there's a bit of hype, but then they just teeter off and never really get anywhere. Like, you know, they don't get to the final. They don't actually win a proper event. And I think the same will happen again this year for Eternal Fire. I just don't think there's something still there that they're just not going to be there. I think the Mongols are going to probably get better. Like, they are just good. I actually watched a bit of the Mongols and the Vitality game.
You don't think Mongols are at their peak? You think they're going to improve?
No, I think they probably can improve. Like, I'm not so sure if they win something like this, but I think they've got what it takes to, on another day, beat Vitality and get to the final. They're fucking good, mate. And like, honestly, Senzu was apparently injured, wasn't he, or something? And he's like one of their better players. So like, I don't know. I do think, but I'm a big Mongols fan. Like, those guys just fun to watch as well. Yeah. They're just fun to watch, and like, they just play well. 9-10 had a sick tournament. He was popping off with AWP shots, mate. On Mirage against Vitality, he was sick. He looked like Zywoo, not the other way around. Unfortunately, they didn't do enough. They lost, but he looked really good. So I think Eternal Fire get worse, Mongols improve. VP, mate, I don't know about VP. VP is such a weird thing, right? With Electronic now leading the charge and them actually having a bit of a deep run. So he's going to be all gassed.
He's actually been doing a good job. I actually like his calling.
Right, yeah. I don't know, mate. Let's see. This VP team's pretty, like, I like IC, the Flammers pickup's cool. But I don't know, it's VP, isn't it? They're going to do this and then, you know, just get to...
What about Liquid? Do you think they're going to get better or stay the same or get worse?
No, I think they're going to... Okay, I think we can transition here. I think they're going to get worse based off the zewz interview.
Okay.
And
interesting. So go on, explain to people that don't know what we're talking about.
Well, it wasn't an interview, was it? It was Snake and Banter, the podcast with Torrens podcast, yeah. And zewz, the former coach of Liquid, was on there. Surely anyone in the scene should know, but if not, just go check it. If not, it's do you know what? It's a really good episode. And he basically just unloads. I don't know if Thorin or Mary Snake knew that he was going to do this, right? I reckon Thorin must have had an idea in the notes or something. But they got a gem out of him on that because he just basically unloaded all his thoughts towards twistzz and the story and the history that basically twistzz effectively, it sounded like, got Cadian and him kicked out of Liquid. I think he painted twistzz in a horrible light, which again, we're not there, we're not seeing it. You just got to rely on what he says, I guess. And to be honest, mate, twistzz, and again, I feel like we say so. I said it in the podcast. If you go back, we've got the receipts. That's a good thing about having a podcast. We record this, and what we say is there, out there in the world. When twistzz recently was, I think it might be the last major, or whatever it was, you know, he was so whiny. Like, I remember saying, like, this guy's so bitchy all of a sudden, like, bitching about mice. Oh, didn't he say, like, he thought the admin had played with his mice or something, like some weird fucking like, shut up, man. Like, proper, like, weird excuse.
I think someone actually did do something with his mouse, but go on.
Well, there was some other stuff. There was definitely some other stuff. He was moaning about the practice computers, but like, just a different side to him was coming out, I felt. And just a whiny little bitch was the impression I was getting at the time. So it's interesting that zewz then kind of came out and said basically he is a bit of a whiny little bitch, but not whiny, but the way he perceived him was that he's a bit of a pussy. Like, he would have a problem with Cadian.
He's a bit of a drama queen.
Or, like, he doesn't like the way, say, Cadian was calling or doing stuff. But he didn't have the balls to say, this is what I don't like about you and your style. He just went to, like, management.
He wouldn't confront him and he wouldn't try and solve the situation.
That's
he was
the
just
impression I got from zewz, yeah.
Bit pathetic, to be honest. Like, I'm not saying twistzz is like this because I don't know from what I've seen, he seems like an okay guy. But from this, zewz obviously doesn't like him. But that kind of behaviour, I don't like. Like whether twistzz did act like this, we don't know. We might come out and say something. We're not
Yeah.
too sure. But that kind of behaviour, I just can't get on board with. When someone falls out with someone, especially when they're supposed to be working together, and they just won't talk to them to try and solve the
Just
situation.
to try and be
or anything.
adult about it and professional.
Yeah.
Rather
Yeah.
than what sounds like he went running to the liquid hierarchy and said, "Oh,
Yeah, and apparently Liquid are bending over backwards for twistzz as well, it sounds like.
yeah." Well, he basically said, "Yeah, your organisation's run by a kid," or he
Yeah.
said, "or his girlfriend or something, or his fiance as well." I was like,
Oh,
"What?"
they're married, right?
Or wife, then yeah. I was like,
Yeah,
"What
yeah.
does that mean? What she's having a little stir of the pot in there? That's weird." And look, twistzz start as RGL has not been good. I mean, Liquid have not been good. So I think what they said in that
I mean, what are you comparing them to? If you comparing them to them past selves, or like,
well, whatever the team
being,
they've got, which is twistzz, NAF, Nerds, JKS.
now they've got nerds, it's different. Now they've got nerds, it's definitely different.
Mate, they should be at semi-finals, shouldn't they? You know, with that team. The only questionable one is Ultimate, which fine, you know. But if you've got that firepower, Nerds, twistzz, NAF on its own, and then JKS holding sights down, you should be up there. So I don't know. I think it's not, not a great look.
The other thing they spoke about on that podcast, which I wanted to bring up on here because I like stealing conversations from other podcasts. They were saying that CounterStrike, the players are boring. Basically, they were saying.
Yeah, which is why it was so refreshing that Apex was given at the beginning of this whole tournament, and why it was actually a bit of fun to watch.
Who's like the most entertaining players that we have at the minute? So you just mentioned one, Apex. He's
yeah. I mean, it seems to be like
he's a big voice anyway.
Yeah. I mean, Carrigan, but that's not necessarily just from. He hasn't got the same raw emotion that Apex.
I would like a bit more beef. I would like people kicking off, or people being like, "Oh, so and so's, a little bitch," or don't, oh, it looks like a little girl or something. I don't know. I just like someone to like kick off, just to have a bit more of a story, because I think that's what's great about CounterStrike. Like for me, I love it when, like, I don't know,
like the Australis.
To be fair, the Australis stuff's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
But it should be more juicy, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that should be way juicier, considering that is absolutely like bonkers. There's no way would Ronaldo have left United and gone to Manchester City.
No.
I mean,
well, actually, I don't know. You knew there was some weird football moves in the past.
I imagine Astralis hated Cadian. They must have hated him when he was on Heroic.
Yeah.
And now he's on their team with Yabby and Stone. It's just that should have been a big that should have been. I just feel like that should be juicier than it is.
While we're on the topic of Cadian as well, because in that zewz interview, he obviously touched on him as well, and he definitely is given the impression, which is we've heard a few times now, or there's the impression we've got is that he's quite difficult to work with, Cadian. But he also,
I don't know whether he might have changed a little bit.
Well, he also said in the that he's definitely a leader, and there's definitely aspects.
Yeah, he said he was a really good leader, and he liked the way he conducted himself as a leader.
But I think it's a bit like, you got to do it my way, or there's no chance. I think that's the problem. I think Cadian's a bit like, it's my way or no way. But when you are bought into my way, I'm going to get you really G'd up for it, and we're going to go into war together. But you've got to really buy him.
Do you need to be like that as a in-game leader? Or
I don't see why you can't adapt a bit.
It's a method of leading, definitely, isn't it?
He's got a device sat next to him, for fuck's sake. You've got to listen to someone like that and take some of that on board, and then channel your motivational skills that Cadian clearly has, and the passion.
maybe after Liquid, he kind of humbled himself a little bit because a lot of this was going around about Cadian. So maybe he did take a look in the mirror and calm himself down.
Maybe it was that.
Especially with Device.
Maybe it was the cold splash of water realization when he was doing, because he was on the desk, wasn't he? After he left Liquid, probably like, shit, I could be sat here being an analyst. That was the wake up call he needed.
Yeah.
Who knows? Okay, so I think we can wrap up the pro scene there. Something we won't go mad into detail about this because we're gonna have a video coming out about it when we finally. Oh, the funniest thing is, me and Briley have been recording some content for this video, and I had one of those days where like everything went wrong. That day, right, was like it wasn't even the height of us recording content. There was so much going on leading up to that in my day that was like, I think I like ripped my shorts. I went to the gym.
Well, wasn't bending over, was it? Doing a squat.
Yeah, no, it was just like I caught it on like my bed.
Ripped
my shorts. Oh yeah, no, sorry. I went to the gym for like a session, yeah, like a class. It wasn't just like going gym, and the guy taking it was sick, so I went there and was just sat outside. And this lady came and said, "Oh yeah, he's called in sick. Apparently, we all like most people got a call. I didn't get the call." So I went there. It's just like, this is all the same day that we then go and record probably 2 to 3 hours of content for the channel, to which when I watch back, various things have gone wrong. Like my computer ran out of space, so I only recorded 9 minutes of one segment.
So, the first part we recorded, that was
an hour.
That was almost an hour, yeah. And you were like, "Oh no, it's not recorded."
My computer's ran out of space.
Yeah, and then you were like, "Okay, I've cleared it. I've got loads of space now." And we went to record the next bit of content, and you came out of it after must have been another hour.
Yeah, and it hadn't captured the screen properly or something. Yeah. It's just a black box.
Absolute nightmare.
So one of those days. But anyway, what we did and what this content was. The funny thing is, when you have one of those days, sorry, I don't know what people do, but I just went to bed in a depressed state. Yeah, I used
rolled out of your chair and got into bed.
I used to crack a beer, but I just wasn't. Yeah, none of that. So what we'd been recording, what we're doing. So we revisited the old versions of CounterStrike. So again, we don't want to go into it too much, but it was bloody fucking fun.
Oh yeah.
And what I realised, my takeaway from it was the lack of real community in CS2. I don't know how you feel about it, but for me, there is a distinct lack of community servers, community vibes. We found servers in 1.6, mainly those were mainly Russian-based communities, and we then in Condition 0, we found like European community hubs where like really nice people like actually were like nice to us, having a game and casual. It was really good fun, and it brought back so many memories. But it really highlights the lack of community within CS2, and I don't know what that is. Whether it's the lack of community servers or
it's the new generation, mate. Unfortunately, you're gonna sound like an old man, but it's the fact that they now have matchmaking just like that, so you can just jump into a game and play competitively so easy, which is great. We love that. We love having a competitive game and just jumping on and being like, right, let's have a 5-on-5. Let's just jump on. But that wasn't the case back in the day, and recording this content I knew it was going to be nostalgic. And I knew I was going to enjoy it, but I didn't realise it was going to be like it was. And it reminded me of how it used to be, just jumping on servers. Like, it seems so archaic, just looking for a random server. Like, you just browsing these servers addresses.
Like what map they got, what have they got, any add-ons?
Yeah, we were jumping on servers and people were like saying, they had the clan tags on the names and whatnot, and they were saying like hi Soup, hi fucking Chewie or whatever. Like,
Yeah, no.
no,
Oh,
like they
mate.
knew each other when they logged on. It's like they knew who each other were, and they were saying hi to each other, and it was just a more friendly, chilled environment, wasn't it, than what CounterStrike is now.
Yeah. No, it was really good. So watch out for that video when we finally get our recording sorted, which we'll get something out. Right. Next
We've got
event.
Dallas going on at the minute, right now.
That's Dallas qualifiers. It's mental. There's so many stuff for that kind of. Yeah.
Australis are drawing 1-1 with that being right at the minute.
Okay.
But yeah, we've got quite a lot of random.
Well, the next big event is PGL Cluj.
Okay.
Which the top teams attending are like Eternal Fire, FaZe, Mongols, Mouse, VP, Astralis, Falcons, and then it kind of teeters off a bit. Imperial females are there again. Go on, they're popping up everywhere, aren't they?
Nice. Have we spoke about Imperial females?
Yeah, we did.
They're Valkyries.
Yeah,
they always been called that. Is that a new thing?
I thought it was Imperial FE.
Yeah, it was.
Anyway, we did an episode on it, I think, mate. So they're going to be popping up again. Who's going to win that? Should we just call it now? Fuck it, Mongols. Let's go. Mongols win that one for me.
FaZe.
Oh, do you know what? I was going to say them, but I don't want to put the pressure on them. I don't want to. Anyway,
don't worry. Carrigan doesn't feel pressure.
It would be good for them to win something like that, especially for. I don't want Elige to. Elige needs to get a little win under his belt.
Mate, what if Falcons win it?
Mate, what if Mouse win it with Spinks properly in the team? Because obviously this will be the first tournament with Spinks.
No, they were in. They just did Kato and did absolutely shocking without him.
Yeah, without him.
We've not even spoke about that, but I think that is such a bad move. Like, I don't know what's happened, but Shuey is like, I think he's such a good in-game leader.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. This is Mouse with Spinks' first proper tournament. Yeah.
Oh, Spinks, sorry.
Yeah, Spinks in Mouse.
Without Shuey.
No. They had to stand in because Spinks couldn't get sorted in time for it. So
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But yeah, agreed with Shuey. I don't know. Maybe that's a conversation for another day because we're running out of time based on our conversation before we started. But I don't know where Shuey's going to go. Look, I can't even bother to think about it right now. So let's look forward to PGL Cluj. Look out for some more content from us coming in the future. I'm going to put that out there so there's pressure on us to do it. GG's, thank you. Anything else to add, or are we going to...
I'm all good, mate. Also, Shuey should go to Liquid.
Yeah.
There you go. Get rid of JKS. Boom.
All right, GG.
Peace.